Welcome to Authors Ideas, a production of JR Global, an MJR production. This series is based on the recent Oxford University Press published book, Global Business in the Age of Destruction and Distraction. As a part of their Global Business series, Gaurav Rastogi joins J.R. Klein and Mahesh Joshi in examining and exploring the disruptive nature of today's world, and introduces ideas for learning how to cope with disruption and remain relevant. Here is your host, J.R. Klein.
So why is storytelling so effective? Storytelling excels over other forms of organizational communication for a reason. The reason for this can be explained by taking a deeper look into the human brain and the way it functions. First, storytelling activates a function in the brain called neural coupling, which enables the listener to convert the ideas presented in a story into their own ideas and experiences. This makes the content of the communication strategy more personal and relatable. Secondly, the storytelling can create a mirror pattern in the brain, which allows the listener to experience similar brain activity with each other as well as with the storyteller. This allows team understanding and builds motivation among listeners. Thirdly, when a person listens to an emotionally charged piece of communication, as it happens in the case of a story, the brain releases a chemical called dopamine, which stimulates memory and helps a person remember that piece of communication accurately and for longer periods. And finally, Paul J. Zak, who's a professor at Claremont Graduate University, talks about a neural chemical called oxytocin, which is released when people feel safe or are shown kindness, and it motivates cooperation with others. The professor found that during character-driven stories and narratives, this chemical is synthesized, which generates emotions like empathy and cooperation, which creates relatability and willingness to work with others. A story activates parts of the brain that allow the listener to turn the story into their own ideas and experiences. Learners will not only experience similar brain activity to each other, but also to the speaker. In an organization, a person is bombarded with information throughout the day. This information comes from all over the place, in the form of presentations, discussions, reports, memos, emails, and conversation. When information is received by the brain in the form of stories as opposed to data and numbers, the inclination to capture, recollect, and reproduce that information is higher. Stories can be heard everywhere in an organization. Stories are being shared in the cafeteria line or just outside the boardroom or in the boardroom or at the water cooler, in the elevator, just about anywhere else one can care to stop and listen. The value of storytelling is also far more pragmatic than history, legacy, or science may suggest. Any salesperson or marketing associate or human relations director can testify to the value of a good story. Stories provide the context so customers, stakeholders, shareholders will understand the value of a service, a product, or solution that's being offered. Using storytelling in this way helps the audience to connect with the teller and establishes a foundation of trusting the teller and therefore trusting the brand. Storytelling as a marketing strategy is evident, but how can it help everyday organizational dynamics? We'll do this next week.
Thank you for listening. If you are interested in more of the author's ideas, look for their Oxford University Press published books on global business, wherever books are sold. If you are interested in contacting the authors, they can be reached at info@jrglobal.co.